Kate and her partner John stroll into the hospital, all smiles and excitement because it's baby time. But as soon as they arrive, things take a sharp turn. Kate's rushed off, leaving John in the waiting room to handle the paperwork. Suddenly, Kate's in a panic as she wakes up in a strange room, surrounded by doctors, and John is nowhere to be seen. Then comes the bombshell: her baby didn't make it. Kate's world shatters, but John, he's acting like everything's peaky, filming away like it's just another day at the office. The nurse hands her a lifeless bundle, and Kate's screams echo in the room. She's jolted awake in her own bed, heart pounding. Reality sinks in as she sees the scar on her belly, a painful reminder of what she's been through. The next day, Kate's in therapy, trying to make sense of the madness. Dr. Browning explains it's all part of the grieving process after a stillbirth. But Kate's mind is racing. Was it really about the loss, or was it fear creeping in about adopting a child? She's torn, feeling like maybe she's not ready for such a big step. Opening up to her therapist, Kate admits she even considered drowning her sorrows in alcohol. Dr. Browning assures her that resisting that urge was a win in itself. As for the adoption, well, that's a decision Kate's got to make for herself. Later, Kate's on mom duty, picking up her daughter Max from school. But in a moment of distraction, she almost causes a major pile-up at a stoplight. It's a wake-up call, a harsh reminder of how fragile life can be. In the later scenes, we find Kate immersing herself in the world of music, fingers dancing across the piano keys as she weaves melodies. However, her concentration is shattered by a disturbance outside. Venturing into the open air, she discovers Max engaged in a lively game of basketball against the wall. Annoyed, she halts the racket, prompting Max to apologize. As the day progresses, John returns home with Daniel, injecting the household with laughter and playfulness, the trio bonding over basketball antics. As night falls, Kate guides Max through the bedtime routine, ending with a request for a story. Max chooses a tale tinged with sadness, stirring memories of loss and longing, while Kate grapples with conflicting emotions. Before turning in, Kate reaches for another tablet, a silent reassurance in the face of uncertainty. The narrative shifts to the orphanage, where Kate and John explore the possibility of adoption. Sister Abigail greets them warmly, ushering them into a world of hope and possibility. Kate lingers on the ground floor, observing the children at play, while John ascends to the upper level. There, he encounters Esther, a beacon of creativity lost in her own world of paint and canvas. As Kate and Abigail join them, Esther opens up about her passion for art and the solitude it brings. Despite their initial differences, a sense of kinship begins to form, drawing them together in shared understanding. They discuss the prospect of adoption with Abigail, learning of Esther's tumultuous past and resilient spirit. Kate and John are captivated by Esther's strength and resilience, cementing their decision to welcome her into their family. 3 weeks later, amidst tearful goodbyes, Kate, John, and Daniel embrace Esther. As they drive home, Kate seizes the chance to teach Esther sign language, weaving a bond between them. Pulling into the driveway, Max greets them with bubbling excitement. Esther wastes no time introducing herself to Max, intrigued about her hearing abilities. Kate explains that Esther relies on lip reading to navigate conversations. Inside, they're welcomed by Grandma Barbara and Daniel. The evening unfolds with everyone presenting Esther with welcome gifts, but Daniel's envy is palpable, especially when Esther shares a grateful hug with John. Seeking solace, Daniel retreats to the treehouse with his pals, leaving Esther and Max to frolic in the snow. Meanwhile, Barbara and Kate discuss Max and Kate's plans to return to teaching once Esther settles in. Despite Barbara's subtle disapproval, Kate remains resolute. As the night falls, a storm brews outside, adding tension to the atmosphere. Later, as Kate and John share a moment of intimacy, they're startled by a knock at the door. It's Esther and Max, seeking refuge from the storm. Esther's request to sleep next to John stirs mixed emotions in Kate. The following morning, the household bustles with activity as they prepare for the day ahead. Esther surprises everyone by descending the stairs in an elegant dress, drawing giggles from the other children. Kate hesitates, but Esther's unyielding confidence convinces her to embrace the uniqueness. At school, Esther is greeted warmly by her teacher, but her joy is short-lived as a classmate cruelly mocks her. On that eventful day, while Max and Esther gleefully skated on the frozen lake, Kate dashed out, cautioning them about the risky activity. At the same time, Daniel, engrossed in a game with his paintball gun, unintentionally struck a bird. Distraught by the injured creature, Daniel hesitated, until Esther, with compassionate resolve, handed him a large rock, urging him to end its suffering. However, Daniel get cold feet, so Esther take the action on his behalf. Later, Esther retreated for a soothing bath, while Kate, unaware of her presence, stumbled upon an old Bible nestled in a drawer. As Kate perused its pages, unaware of Esther silently observing from the bathroom doorway, she stumbled upon a photo of a man tucked within its pages. Meanwhile, at school, Daniel faced ridicule from his peers because of Esther, prompting him to lash out by tipping over her books. In the ensuing chaos, a confrontation erupted over the Bible, resulting in Esther being taunted by a classmate. Overwhelmed, Esther screamed in distress. Back at home, Kate attempted to lighten the mood by teaching Esther piano, but Esther remained tight-lipped about the incident at school. Seeking to connect with Esther, Kate presented her with a scrapbook she had already begun, sparking a poignant conversation about Kate's lost baby and the roses where they scattered her ashes. Later that evening, thinking the children were asleep, Kate and John start developing plot in the kitchen, only to be surprised by Esther's sudden appearance. The following morning, Kate decides to address the previous day's incident with Esther, but Esther, seemingly unfazed, continues painting and casually tells her to piss off, stunning Kate. Later, Kate discusses the matter with John, suggesting they take Esther to a therapist. However, John believes it's an overreaction for just one swear word. Taking the girls to the park, John finds himself approached by a neighbor who flirts with him, while Esther's bully also appears. Esther, distracted by the interaction, watches as the bully heads to the playground. Despite her fear of Esther, the bully joins her in play, but a sudden push from Esther results in the bully breaking her leg, witnessed by Max. During dinner that evening, John confronts Esther about the incident, but Max corroborates Esther's story that the girl slipped. As they prepare to eat, Esther surprises them by leading a prayer, showcasing her surprising comprehension of sign language, even outdoing Daniel. Angered, Daniel taunts her, prompting parental intervention and Daniel's subsequent punishment of a lock on his treehouse. Later, while shopping with the girls, Kate receives a call from Sister Abigail. Esther refuses to speak, but Kate persists, eventually confiding in Sister Abigail about their troubles, with Max relaying the conversation to Esther through lip reading. That night, to Kate's surprise, Esther flawlessly plays the piano, revealing she had been pretending not to know to please Kate. However, as Kate and John's argument escalates into the night, Esther, overhearing from the other room, remains content. One big day, Sister Abigail unexpectedly drops by the family's place, sharing worries about Esther's actions with the parents. She mentions a bunch of concerning stuff Esther might have done, hinting she might have hurt other kids. Esther hears it all and rushes to Max, begging for help to avoid being taken away by the mean lady. While Kate ponders Sister Abigail's concerns, John shrugs them off, thinking they're just making a big deal out of nothing. Eventually, they agree to get Esther some help from a therapist, hoping to sort out any problems she might have. Meanwhile, Esther cleverly tricks Max into fetching the keys to the treehouse, but instead of playing, she grabs a gun from John's safe. She removes most of the bullets, leaving just one, and scares the pants off Max by pointing it at her. As Sister Abigail drives away, Esther seizes the moment, taking Max to a nearby bridge with something sinister in mind. She pushes Max onto the road, barely avoiding Sister Abigail's car. Chaos ensues, and Esther viciously attacks Sister Abigail with a hammer, leaving Max terrified and forced to help hide the evidence. Seeking refuge in the treehouse, Esther pressures Max into helping cover up what happened, warning her of serious consequences if she refuses. Despite being scared out of her wits, Esther suddenly tells Max she loves her, adding a twist to the already intense situation. Later that night, in the darkness, Daniel witnesses Esther sneaking down from the treehouse, sending chills down his spine. Esther confronts him with a scalpel, leaving him shaking with fear, his piss in his pants. John and Kate decide it's time to see Browning, the therapist, so they take Esther along. While they're in the session, Esther waits outside. Browning talks to them about Esther, but she flips the script, suggesting Kate might be the one causing problems. She thinks Kate's struggling with her mom role and it's affecting Esther. John surprisingly agrees. Back home, Kate gets a disturbing call from the orphanage about Sister Abigail's disappearance. Things take a darker turn when the police find Sister Abigail dead, right where Esther was last seen with her. With no leads, the police leave Kate and John baffled. Meanwhile, Esther is in her room, fiddling with the aquarium lights and revealing a creepy painting she's done of their house. Kate, feeling uneasy, turns to the internet for advice on troubled kids. She shares what she finds with John, who remains doubtful. Frustrated, Kate decides to stop seeing Browning. Concerned about Esther's past, Kate tries to contact the Russian orphanage where Esther was from. but her efforts hit a dead end when she learns there's no record of Esther before she came to the US. The next day, John tries to wake Esther for a dentist appointment, but she refuses. They end up spending the day painting together. Esther opens up to John, admitting she feels like Kate doesn't like her. Meanwhile, Kate quizzes the other kids about Esther's behavior, but they cover for her, insisting she's always been good. As night falls, Esther surprises Kate in the kitchen with a thoughtful gesture, a bucket filled with roses plucked from the sacred spot where Kate's daughter's ashes were scattered. Emotions flare, prompting Kate to grab Esther, but John steps in, diffusing the tension. Meanwhile, Esther's night takes a darker turn as she ventures into the garage and suffers an injury to her hand. Later, she complains to John about arm pain, and upon inspection, he discovers her arm is broken. The next day, they return from the doctor, where Kate joins them. A confrontation ensues between John and Kate, with Kate vehemently denying any wrongdoing towards Esther. Feeling overwhelmed, Kate turns to the comfort of alcohol, purchasing 2 bottles of wine. However, after indulging, she pours the remaining wine down the drain. The following morning, Kate drives the kids to school, but chaos erupts when Daniel's bag tears, leading Kate to rush to his aid. In the commotion, Esther seizes the opportunity to play a dangerous game with the car, leaving Max trapped inside until it halts in the snow. That evening, tensions escalate as Dr. Browning pays a visit. Kate staunchly defends herself, insisting she properly parked the car and accusing Max of covering for Esther. However, her claims are undermined when John reveals a second wine bottle discovered by Esther. Despite Kate's protestations, doubts linger, and John issues an ultimatum. Kate must enter rehab within a week or he'll leave with the kids. Meanwhile, Esther issues a chilling threat to Max, warning her against speaking out. As the night marches on, Daniel heads to Max's room where she spills the beans about Sister Abigail and the mysterious treehouse. Daniel pledges to retrieve the hidden items from the treehouse, but little do they know, Esther overhears their conversation, getting curious. In the quiet of the night, Kate sneaks into Max's room, wanting to check on her daughter. But Esther flips the light on, turning their meeting into a confrontation. Esther admits to reading Max's diary, trying to intimidate her, but Kate stays strong, not falling for her tricks. As the sun rises, Kate's determined to uncover the truth. Frustrated by the orphanage silence, she digs deeper into Esther's Bible, uncovering unsettling photos. She discovers the phrase Sarn Institute, sparking her curiosity to know more. Meanwhile, Daniel sneaks out to the treehouse, not realizing Esther's tailing him. She sets the treehouse on fire, trapping Daniel inside. With Kate preoccupied, Daniel's cries for help go unnoticed until it's almost too late. As chaos ensues and flames engulf the treehouse, Daniel's fate hangs by a thread. Kate rushes to save him, while Esther lurks nearby, her dark intentions threatening to tear the family apart. In the aftermath, Daniel's condition remains uncertain as the doctor delivers grim news. Esther's fears grow as the family grapples with the aftermath of the fire. Kate confides in John about her findings regarding Esther, yet he remains skeptical. While their disagreement intensifies, Esther slips into Daniel's room. Max, sensing trouble, rushes after her. Esther attempts to smother Daniel with a pillow, prompting Max to seek help from their parents. The alarm in Daniel's room blares, and medical staff manage to revive him. In a fit of rage, Kate confronts Esther and delivers a swift slap, leading to orderlies intervening and sedating her. Amidst the chaos, Kate overlooks an important phone call. Later, Kate awakens in the hospital, immediately inquiring about Daniel's condition. Frantic to safeguard Max, she pleads with John to keep Esther away from their daughter. As Kate spends the night at the hospital, Max removes her hearing aid, and John ensures she's tucked in. However, Esther makes a surprising entrance, snatching the aid from Max during her goodnight. Meanwhile, John retreats to the living room, drowning his worries in alcohol. Esther, donning a mature outfit, joins him and attempts to initiate a romantic encounter. John recoils, clarifying his lack of romantic feelings toward her. He instructs her to return to her room, but Esther asserts her adulthood, refusing to comply. John resolves to contact the orphanage about Esther's situation the following day, prompting her to retreat to her room, tears streaming down her face. Meanwhile, Kate receives a call from a doctor at the Sarn Institute, unveiling shocking revelations about Esther's true identity. The doctor discloses Esther's adult status, attributed to a rare hormonal disorder. He reveals Esther's violent past, including her involvement in multiple deaths. Confused and overwhelmed, Kate rushes home, grappling with the unsettling realization of Esther's deception. Upon returning home, Esther transforms her room into a chaotic scene, stripping away her facade of innocence by removing her makeup. When John checks on her, he discovers her walls adorned with disturbing paintings. Meanwhile, Kate attempts to reach John while driving, but the power outage disrupts their communication. Concerned, she contacts the authorities. Navigating through the darkness with a flashlight, John encounters Esther, who unexpectedly stabs him. Despite his injuries, John remains conscious as Esther ruthlessly continues her assault until he succumbs to his wounds. Witnessing the gruesome scene, Max becomes the next target of Esther's wrath. In a frantic rush home, Kate's speed leads to a crash upon arrival. Racing upstairs, she discovers John's lifeless body before realizing the imminent danger facing Max. With adrenaline surging, Kate searches frantically, checking Max's room and then the bathroom. Suddenly, Esther appears, firing a shot that narrowly misses Kate. Seeking refuge in her bedroom, Kate manages to evade detection as Esther prowls the house. Unaware of Kate's presence, Esther ventures outside, while Max finds sanctuary in the garden under Kate's watchful eye. Esther takes aim at Max, firing her weapon. As the tension peaks, Max narrowly escapes, just as Kate shatters a glass roof, crashing down onto Esther and thwarting her lethal intentions. In the aftermath, Max stirs Kate back to awareness. With quick resolve, Kate grabs the gun and carries Max away, leaving Esther behind. They venture into the thick woods as police sirens pierce the air, but Esther remains elusive, escaping their search. Suddenly, Esther reemerges, wielding a knife and giving chase. A tense pursuit unfolds as Kate and Max race onto the frozen lake, but Esther swiftly catches up. On the precarious ice, a frantic struggle ensues. Amidst the chaos, Max seizes the gun and fires, shattering the ice beneath them. They plummet into the icy depths, locked in a struggle for survival. Kate manages to overpower Esther, but as she attempts to climb out, Esther clutches her once more, pleading for her life. Despite Esther's pleas, Kate resolutely pushes her back into the freezing waters, sealing her fate. And that's where this video ends. Watch the next one and take care.